Something unimaginable has just come to light, and it has shaken an entire family to its core. What was once considered a scandal has now escalated into a personal disaster so devastating that it threatens to erase everything in its path. At the center of this storm stands Doug Christie, a man whose life, marriage, career, and identity as a father have been shattered in a way no one could have imagined. The weapon that destroyed his world, not a fight, not gossip, not even a rumor. It was a single sheet of paper, a DNA test report. Picture this, a quiet evening in Doug's home. He sits in his living room, surrounded by familiar walls and family memories. On the table in front of him rests a plain envelope. To anyone else, it looks harmless, but inside, it holds the power to destroy his world. Doug's hands tremble as he opens it. His heart races, almost warning him of the storm about to hit. He unfolds the paper and reads the words that immediately crush him. In that moment, the floor beneath him collapses. The daughter he had loved, raised, and protected his entire life was not his by blood. She was Montell Jordan's, his friend's daughter. Doug gasps for air, whispering, "No, this can't be real." But the truth doesn't care about denial. It pierces him over and over, leaving him broken. Jackie, Doug's wife, walks into the room. Her glamorous image, the one she always carried with pride, crumbles instantly. She sees the paper in Doug's hand and realizes the secret she hid for years has now come to light. Tears stream down her face. She doesn't try to deny it. She can't. Her silence is louder than any confession. Doug's rage explodes. He smashes a glass against the wall, shouting at Jackie with a pain that words can barely carry. "How could you?" The betrayal inside that home doesn't stay hidden for long. In just hours, the news leaks. What began as whispers quickly turns into breaking headlines. Screens light up across the globe. DNA report confirms shocking truth. Jackie Christie's daughter, not fathered by Doug. Montell Jordan at the center of explosive DNA scandal. Social media becomes a wildfire. Hashtags trend worldwide. Hashtag justice for Doug. Hashtag DNA storm. Hashtag Jackie exposed. On TikTok, fans scream into their cameras in disbelief. Memes flood Instagram timelines. And then, as if the fire was already raging, an old hotel security video surfaces. Grainy but clear enough, it shows Jackie and Montell leaving a hotel room together, holding hands, their faces glowing with intimacy. To the public, this isn't just suspicion anymore, it's undeniable proof. The internet doesn't whisper, it roars. Fans declare, the affair was real. The betrayal is proven. Doug, drowning in pain, steps in front of the cameras at a press conference. His voice cracks. His eyes are red. His hands shake. He looks like a man defeated. "I am a broken man," he says. "My marriage, my daughter, my family, it was all built on lies. I gave everything, and they destroyed me." Even hardened reporters sit silently, watching as a once strong man collapses under the weight of betrayal. But the storm is just beginning. An insider leaks another bombshell. Montell allegedly paid Jackie to keep the truth hidden for years. Headlines explode again. Montell funded Jackie's lies. DNA deception fueled by secret payments. Fans turn vicious. Jackie is branded as a manipulator who sold her family's future for selfish gain. Montell is painted as a traitor who betrayed not only his friend, but also the sacred bond of brotherhood. In the middle of it all stands Chantal, the daughter, at the center of the scandal. Barely in her 20s, her world crumbles as she posts a haunting message on Instagram. "So my whole life was a lie. Who am I really?" Her words echo across platforms, leaving millions heartbroken. Sympathy pours in, but nothing can fix the shattering of her identity. She is no longer just Jackie's daughter, she is now the symbol of betrayal itself. The humiliation doesn't stop at home. On the basketball court, fans chant Montell's daughter at Doug. During one game, he snaps. In uncontrollable anger, he rips off his jersey, storms off the court, and disappears into the locker room. Cameras capture every second. The clip goes viral. Doug Christie's breakdown, a career in ruins, Commentators debate whether his career is over. One analyst says, "He's not just losing his family, he's losing himself." Jackie, once admired in the spotlight, finds herself stripped of respect. Tabloids plaster her face with headlines like liar and betrayer. In desperation, she appears on Instagram Live, mascara running down her face as she sobs. "I never wanted this, but the internet is merciless." The comments flood in. "You destroyed him. Shame. Cancelled forever. Her glamorous life is gone." Montell Jordan, the man once celebrated for his music and loyalty, now stands as a symbol of betrayal. Reporters chase him with microphones. "Did you father Doug's daughter? Did you pay Jackie to hide it?" He stays silent, but that silence only deepens the guilt in the public's eyes. Radio stations pull his music. Fans burn his merchandise. Online, hashtags trend. Hashtag Montell betrayed. Hashtag snake in disguise. His reputation, once untouchable, vanishes overnight. The most heartbreaking collapse comes from Chantal. Friends say she rarely leaves her room. She scrolls endlessly through hateful comments and conspiracy theories about her life. One night, she posts a chilling video. Sitting in the dark, her voice trembling, she says, "If Doug isn't my father and Montell is, then who am I? Was my whole childhood fake? Was I just a cover-up?" The video breaks hearts across the internet. Millions watch, thousands comment, but no one can give her the answers she desperately needs. The scandal soon enters the courtroom. Doug, broken but determined, files lawsuits. He demands custody clarifications, financial audits, and even threatens to sue Montell for damages. Court documents leak, showing Doug accusing Jackie and Montell of calculated fraud and emotional torture. The words ignite outrage everywhere. In one hearing, Doug holds the DNA report high, shouting, "This paper destroyed my life." The clip goes viral in minutes. Inside the courtroom, things grow even more heated. Jackie breaks down sobbing. Doug slams his fist on the table, yelling, "Tell them the truth. Jackie, admit what you did to me." The judge threatens contempt, but the damage is done. As if things couldn't get worse, a new bombshell drops. Pages from Jackie's old diary are leaked. They reveal confessions of her deep feelings for Montell, secret nights together, and her fear that Doug would never forgive her if the truth came out. The diary confirms what many already suspected. Jackie's love for Montell was real. The betrayal wasn't a rumor. It was written in her own hand. By the end of the month, the Christie mansion stands empty. Doug moves out. Jackie vanishes from social media. Montell cancels his shows and retreats into silence. What began as a single DNA test has grown into a cultural earthquake, one that consumed television, social media, and every conversation around the world. This isn't just a scandal, it's a tragedy. A man's identity as a father was stripped away. A woman's reputation was destroyed. A friend became a villain, and a young daughter was left questioning the foundation of her entire life, all because of a single envelope. Montell's career was in ruins. His name, once praised in arenas and music halls, had turned into a curse whispered louder than his songs were ever cheered. Chantal, the young woman at the center of the storm, vanished into silence. The DNA scandal was no longer just gossip or tabloid headlines. It had become a cautionary tale that fans would never forget, the greatest family betrayal in sports history. But as the dust began to settle, a haunting question lingered. If this truth had been buried for decades, what other secrets were still hidden in the shadows? The DNA test had already burned everything to the ground. What came afterward turned the ashes into a graveyard of broken lives. Doug Christie's world collapsed in slow motion while millions watched. Once a proud athlete, he was now a man unraveling in plain sight. Jackie, his glamorous wife, who once stood by his side in the spotlight, was stripped of dignity and branded as the face of betrayal. Montell, the man whose songs once uplifted crowds, was mocked endlessly and erased from the stage. And Chantal, an innocent caught in a storm she never asked for, was left struggling with an identity that no longer felt like her own. The public thought the scandal had already hit its peak, But what unfolded next proved that the tragedy was only beginning. Doug spiraled deeper and deeper into despair. His friends said he was no longer recognizable. He stopped training, stopped eating, stopped answering phone calls. The man they knew had vanished. Neighbors whispered that at night they heard him screaming Jackie's name into the dark sky, as if begging for answers that would never come. One evening, photographers spotted him wandering the streets barefoot. His eyes were empty, his clothes unkempt, and in his arms, he clutched the DNA envelope, the very document that had destroyed his life, as if it were the only thing keeping him alive. The photo exploded online within minutes. Headlines screamed, "Doug Christie loses it all." Fans flooded social media with posts of sympathy. This is what betrayal does to a man. But words of pity could not stitch Doug back together. He was unraveling thread by thread. The breaking point came during a live television interview. As Doug sat under the hot studio lights, trying to hold himself together, a voice from the audience pierced the air. "Montell is Chantel's real dad." Doug froze, his face twisted in pain, his eyes welled with tears, and in front of millions of viewers, he broke completely. He tore off his microphone, sobbed uncontrollably, and stormed off the stage. The footage spread instantly, becoming one of the most watched clips of the year. Doug was no longer remembered as a strong athlete, but as a man shattered by love, betrayal, and broken trust. Meanwhile, Jackie tried to repair her public image. She appeared on a reality TV reunion show, hoping to tell her side of the story. But the audience wasn't ready to forgive. The moment she stepped on stage, the studio filled with thunderous boos. People hurled insults. Some waved signs that read, "Liar, you ruined Doug." Halfway through the show, Jackie broke down in tears. "I made mistakes," she sobbed, "but I loved my family." Her words, however, only fueled more anger. The clip of her being shouted off stage went viral, cementing her fate as the villain of the scandal. Montell's downfall was just as brutal. His concerts were canceled, his sponsorships disappeared, and his career was reduced to ashes. Once a man known for inspiring lyrics, he was now mocked across the globe. His own songs were twisted into internet jokes. Late-night comedians made him their punchline. Fans unfollowed him in droves, and his once bright legacy became nothing more than a warning. One mistake can destroy everything. For Montell, the stage lights went out forever, but perhaps the deepest wound of all was left on Chantel. She had no part in the lies, no say in the choices made before she was even born. Yet she was forced to carry the weight of them all. The internet was ruthless. Trolls attacked her post with cruel comments. "You're the scandal baby." Montell's mistake. She shut down her social media accounts, locked herself away from the world, and close friends whispered she was drowning in a depression so heavy it terrified them. In one private message, later leaked online, she confessed, "I don't know who I am anymore. I feel like I was born from betrayal." That single line shook people around the globe. It was reposted millions of times, her pain echoing like a haunting cry across the internet. The legal battles turned the scandal into all-out war. Doug's lawyers demanded financial restitution, accusing Montell and Jackie of committing emotional fraud. Jackie's team tried to argue that the matter was private, but the judge wasn't swayed. Courtrooms were packed with reporters, describing each day like a battlefield. Doug broke down crying openly on the stand. Jackie begged for mercy. Montell avoided Doug's eyes, his silence louder than any words. In one unforgettable moment, Doug stood and screamed across the courtroom, "You stole my daughter. You stole my life." The judge slammed his gavel, demanding order, but the damage was done. That outburst replayed endlessly on television and online. The world took sides, though most sided with Doug. Hashtags like #Justice for Doug and #Cancel Jackie trended for weeks. Online petitions demanded Montell issue a public apology. The fury was unstoppable. Public opinion became a tidal wave of rage that neither Montell nor Jackie could escape. Then came the final blow. Late one night, leaked audio recordings surfaced, old phone calls between Jackie and Montell from the 1990s. In one clip, Jackie's voice trembled as she whispered, "He can never know the truth. Montell, he'd never forgive me. Montell replied coldly. Then we bury it forever. The recordings confirmed the public's worst suspicions. This wasn't an accident. It was a secret conspiracy, hidden deliberately for decades. The internet exploded in fury. Comment sections turned into war zones, with fans demanding lawsuits, boycotts, and accountability. Jackie and Montell were officially finished. Doug, though vindicated, stood broken beyond repair. At a heartbreaking press conference, his voice cracked as he whispered into the microphone. The truth came too late. I lost my family, my identity, my peace. Nothing can give me back the years I wasted living a lie. The room fell silent. It wasn't victory, it was grief. By the end, the Christie mansion stood empty. Jackie disappeared from public life. Montell became a ghost in the music world. Chantal vanished into silence, still searching for herself. And Doug lived on, not as the athlete he once was, but as the tragic face of betrayal. The world had watched a family implode in real time. And in the end, no one won. Not Doug, not Jackie, not Montell, not even Chantal. What remained was devastation, a cautionary tale etched into pop culture history, the biggest DNA scandal basketball had ever seen. A single test had destroyed love, loyalty, careers, and lives. And as the dust finally settled, one chilling truth remained. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon in a bullet, a scandal, or even betrayal. It's a piece of paper, a DNA result that can bring an entire empire crashing down. Listen closely, because this isn't just a scandal. It isn't just drama. It's a tragedy written in real time. A story that destroyed families, shredded reputations, and left scars that may never heal. And perhaps the scariest part is this. The story ain't over. It's still unfolding, still breaking hearts, still tearing down everything that once looked perfect under the spotlight. Now you've seen the evidence, the betrayals, the breakdowns, the courtroom battles. But imagine the aftermath, the sleepless nights, the children caught in the middle. The camera is still rolling while lives are shattered behind the scenes. This isn't a movie. This is raw, brutal reality. Every secret exposed, every lie dragged into the light, every relationship reduced to rubble. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. When secrets finally explode, they don't just destroy the guilty. They burn down everyone standing too close. The shame, the humiliation, the endless questions. How could this happen? Who can we trust? These wounds don't fade. They spread. They linger. They haunt. And so, the world waits. Will there ever be justice? Or will fame and power bury the pain once again? Will the guilty finally pay? Or will the victims be left alone with the broken pieces? One thing is certain. This scandal shook everything to its core. And if you think it's over, think again. The real storm has only just begun.